if I am given 10 minutes on either YouTube or TikTok, pardon me, but I do have something I want to run through, and it's talking about Byron Davis, and it's actually talking more about why do blacks get on platforms like this, and they think it's comical when the Democratic Party, in this case, makes a blunder or is overruled. They think that's big news because we don't know anything about unification. And we're talking about some young people. The guy that I was listening to, Mr. Yates and Byron Donald, they could not talk too much about Jim Crow era and anything of that nature. And the reason why is because you weren't here. You were protected from that by the drowning, the murder, the hangings, and the fight for voting rights and freedom. You know nothing about that except for what the textbook told you, and the textbook lied because they were going to tell their own narrative. For a brief moment, we have a chance to tell a narrative coming from us if they let us. But Black Americans' political motivations during Jim Crow era are difficult to prove. And the reason why is Jim Crow era in the North and the Jim Crow era in the South were different. In the South, under Jim Crow, most black people could not vote. Okay? Now, in the North, during the Jim Crow era, they were not living under those conditions, but the North, you have to understand, at one time, North and South were on different, they were like enemies. So what happened in the South didn't necessarily happen in the North. But don't you think for a minute that slavery didn't happen. They just got more freedoms a lot faster. Now, what I wanted to say is that historians said a pattern of black voting back in Republicans during the Jim Crow era would not support the idea that they were conservative. In the North, black people voted for Republicans as the party of Abraham Lincoln, who freed the slaves, and so on, because I want to go some other places. But black people in the South would have been likely to vote Republican for the same reason if they had been able to. But let me make one thing abundantly clear to you, and this is my opinion. Republican or Democrat, they are not doing anything for you, us. Now, sometimes you have to choose the lesser of two evils. Now, we knew, at least black folks knew, when the 25-point Republican, what I call manual for bringing black folks back to servitude, was brought to Donald Trump. He said that he didn't know anything about it. Now, going back right now and looking at those 25 points, he's almost completed the whole list. But you knew what you were getting when you got Donald Trump. He's a businessman. He's all about money. He's been selling bobbleheads and the government since he got in office. And one of the things that we have to understand, when I say people have been selling things, I'm not talking about sometime espionage or anything else. I'm talking about selling you and me down the river. And if you think just because you white, you're not going to get sold, shame on you. because you're starting to feel a pinch. Now, let's go back to something. See, I want to look at the big picture first. Slavery, Jim Crow, today is not the same system, but research shows measurable inequalities persist across multiple areas. The biggest difference then, inequality was legal, explicit, and enforced by law. Now, inequality is generally illegal but persists in outcomes. Now, racial inequality, slavery and Jim Crow. You see, during slavery, you had no civil rights, segregated schools, housing, jobs, Jim Crow, systematic exclusion from voting, economic opportunity. See, all of this was codified into law and openly enforced. But modern legal discrimination is banned through civil rights laws, but the Donald is trying to take away those laws. And we are helping him because, see, this is the honest truth. When some black folks get to middle class, they think that they have actually turned white. They think that they have actually become privileged because they have a Mercedes and you are walking around and you have a Honda. And what happens is the psyche in that person's middle class mind makes him think he's better than you. Okay? And we have that, and that's really, this is a psychological problem. And it's brought on by the education that you receive and some of the training that you get from TV, schools, even your family. Now, economic equality under slavery, you were treated as property. Under Jim Crow, access to land, credit, jobs was heavily restricted. Wealth, in the modern days, income gaps, in the modern days, the typical white family has about 6 times the wealth of a typical black family. But in New Orleans, they said they had 13 times as much. You see, because they've been lying to us from the day that we left Africa. And if you were already here, they've been lying to you since they took Turtle Island from you, or the New World. You can blame or say whatever you want to, but they treated all black folks the same. And in fact, they treated Irish and especially people from Italy as they treated us, and they were in the field until they were made policemen or overseers. But let's get back to inequality economically. Top households now hold over 2/3 of the U.S. wealth, while the bottom half holds very little. Wealth inequality has increased over decades and is among the highest in developed countries. This is a key insight. Economic inequality today is not based on legal exclusion, but outcomes remain strongly unequal and shaped by history. That means the system of white supremacy is well and working. Now, YouTube and TikTok will be kicking me off in about 40 seconds, but historically under Jim Crow, segregated hospitals, limited denied treatment, shorter life expectancy for black Americans because they were bombing, they were flooding, burning, hanging, and doing anything that they want to do to you. Just like if they catch you in the wrong situation now. Disparities persist across many measures. Now, I will have to stop this right here, but we can get back